Hello, welcome to this Nokia Quality Basics e-learning module which is designed for network deployment services of mobile networks in Nokia. Let's begin with agenda for this module. First, I will explain Nokia quality policy. I will brief site quality assurance process with different quality steps and related activities. Then concept of the site quality checklist with some examples of checklist items, and how quality aspects are handled in NDPD tool focusing on NDPD mobile app. Finally, I will explain and introduce different quality methodologies like Lean, Kaizen, and Six Sigma. What is Nokia quality policy? At Nokia, we are customer centric and we are committed to creating value for our customers today and into the connected future by delivering products, services which are reliable and secure with first time, every time, on time as promised. Relentlessly pursuing continuous improvement to enable superior performance. Constantly renewing our knowledge to innovate new ways to serve customers. Valuing each other, our customers and stakeholders, while honoring ethical, legal, and statutory obligations. For Nokia, it is quality first, and Nokia expects the same from its employees, subcontractors, and vendors. This is an overview of site quality assurance process, wherein after the installation is complete, quality comes into picture. It starts with self-assessment, which is done by the installer or subcontractor after completing the work on site. Self-assessment is followed by quality check, which is done in collaboration between installer or subcontractor on site and Nokia GDC from remote location to verify the work done by the installer or subcontractor. Quality audit is on top of these two checks, which is done on minimum 5% of the sites, same as quality check in the collaboration with installer or subcontractor and GDC. Finally, customer acceptance, which is external quality check by customer. This could also be performed using remote collaboration. To fully comprehend site quality assessment, you must first understand what is a quality checklist and how proof points are linked and when the assessment is declared complete. Checklist is a set of checkpoints defined to check deploy work on site. Each checkpoint is assigned a weightage based on severity of the defect. It is advised that projects choose checklists from the global quality checklist based on their scope and, if necessary, add customer-specific checkpoints to all the list and get approval on final checklist only if deviating from the global checklist. Proof points. All checks made with the checklist must be accompanied with images of the checkpoint in question. These photographs are evidence points that can be referred to at any time in future if necessary. Completion of the checklist. This checklist will be completed and submitted once it has been. This is the high-level workflow which is followed during quality assessment. It is just an overview or process. There may be some country-specific or project-specific changes in the workflow. Nokia project teams and subcontractors work closely to keep site quality up to customer expectations. Site quality is measured on sample site basis and controlled on continuous improvement basis. Let me explain shortly how this assessment is triggered and completed. First, rollout manager initiates quality assessment to an assessor. An assessor can be a quality manager for on-site assessment or GDC or DEC Digital Enablement Center for remote assessment. In on-site mode, quality manager physically visits sites and performs quality assessment using predefined quality checklist as explained previously. In case of remote quality assessment, which is default and recommended way of assessment, both remote GDC, DEC teams work with on-site engineer to verify installation quality using live video session. After assessment is completed, all findings are reported in quality tool and quality report. Now we have understood site quality assurance process and the workflow, and next is the performance management, which means how we are measuring quality and which KPIs we are using. As it is said that if you can measure, then you can improve. MN services focus on continuous improvement of site quality through 4 KPIs, which are defined to ensure site quality on site. First KPI is first time right, followed by license to work, which are global KPIs, and PSQI, budget site quality index, and self-assessment from market perspective. First time right, FTRI or zero defect, where Nokia prefers to have defect-free sites to deliver first time right. There should be zero installation defects. KPI is measured on the basis of defect-free sites against total number of sites assessed during the period. Defects are reported based on quality checklist in use that we discussed previously. PSQI, that is Project Site Quality Index, through this KPI, site quality is measured using same quality checks for FTRI, but this KPI is based on severity of the defect rather than count of defects. And next, license to work is another KPI that measures compliance to NDPD app usage along with competency of the engineers. Last but not the least is self-assessment. It is an evaluation on work done with respect to scope of work by installation team to confirm they have followed all guidelines and checklist for quality assessment. Now, as we have seen that for this whole quality assurance process, quality checklist is the main driver which is used for the quality assessment. Quality checklist. There are two steps by which we finalize a quality checklist for a project or an SMP site model package. Number one, the process generally begins with the input of project details by the Nokia project administrator. Following this, the project management team will ensure that project site quality checklists are developed using global quality checklist as the basis of criteria. Now, as we understand that there could be customer specific requirements to be used during quality assessment. So as a second step, you have to combine project site quality specific checkpoints provided by customer with the global one. And consolidation of these two inputs will be a final checklist for the project or SMP. Here we have explained severity of the defect as is used for PSQI, Project Site Quality Index KPI, as explained in the previous slide. Severity is ranging from 1, which is being the lowest impact, to 4, which has the highest impact to the installation. Another type of severity is information, which is basically of no severity and is reported in case any cosmetic related issue is identified but does not have any impact at any level to the installation. Now let us go through some of the examples of the checkpoints from global quality checklist used for BTS implementation scope. For starting with the first one, cabinet is installed according to specifications. Cover, doors and locks properly adjusted. Cabinet gaskets not damaged. OVB boxes for remote RFDC cable installed correctly. Common plug-and-play unit is installed in a desired configuration according to instructions. Door ground strap installed correctly. Radio cover is installed and torqued properly. Site is clean and tidy. These are the few examples from the checklist which are used by an assessor or an auditor while performing quality checks. These are few examples of checkpoints for antenna installation. Feeder and jumpers installed correctly through cable entry. Feeder is installed correctly with proper pending radius using appropriate amps. Mast head amplifier waterproofing kit correctly installed to prevent any kind of water seepage. Correct antenna types to be installed on each sector. Antenna properly mounted and secured so that it may not move from its position. Packaging material is removed from the site so that site is clean. Jumper installed correctly. Waterproofing on connectors to be as per specifications. Last but not the least, few examples of checkpoints for cabling implementation. Internal cables installed correctly. Rack or a third-party cabinet is grounded. AC-DC supply power cables installed according to specifications. Transmission cable is connected correctly. Cables between BTS modules are routed via correct cable entries. DC supply power cables to Flexi module is installed according to the specification. Cables are tied properly using Velcro ties and dust caps are installed in all the unused ports. Cable holders are installed as per the need. These are just the few examples. Actual check will depend on the scope of the project. Now let's go through NDPD mobile app for quality assessment. As a first step, log into NDPD mobile app using credentials which are same as NOLS account. The assigned sites are available under My Assignments as shown on right side of the slide. Select the site from the list to see the available tasks. After opening the site, the active task list will become visible and available for download and execution. Once the task is downloaded, the three dots action button will be enabled for the user to access the task. The top option in the pop-up that opens after clicking the action button will be the task action, then an option to raise a ticket at task level, and finally, if there were any updates in the task configuration while already downloaded. The latest task details can be fetched if the on-site leave site option is enabled for the task. Then before the actual task activity becomes available, the user will first need to confirm that he or she is on site. Once the site activity has been completed, he or she will have the option to leave the site. Once the activity of the task has been selected, a summary view will pop up and display the site information. By moving to the second activity tab, the user can proceed to fulfill his required action on site. If there is any documentation or guidance attachments on the task, these can be accessed from the third tab, Documents. Now, inside the task activity, there is a checklist composed of multiple elements, such as the section which contains multiple questions, which are called test cases, with different answers or options depending on the configuration. These test cases or questions may require photos to be uploaded if a specific response is selected, such as not OK, which means there is a defect. After the checklist is filled partially or completely, there are options to save all the sections, test cases, and also synchronize them with any pending web task. Once filled in completely, the checklist can be submitted to advance the workflow. These quality test cases have a specific property that allows a user to raise a ticket if there are issues on site, which are also called defects, reported in FTRI zero defect KPIs as explained previously. The ticket pop-up window will show when the not OK answer is selected, indicating a defect. Once the quality ticket is triggered, the user will be prompted to specify the liable responsible party for the defect. Provide some remarks which will serve as the initial ticket description and the defect picture that will be attached to the ticket once created. Test case name, severity, item number, and category will also be fetched into the ticket details automatically to better track the root cause of the issue or defect. Quality tickets can also be raised from outside the task activity, but they are linked to a checklist item. Without a checklist item, the quality ticket cannot be raised because it will be missing some core details such as the quality category, item number, or severity. When raising a quality ticket from outside the task activity, the prerequisites are to have at least one quality checklist present in that task activity. Afterwards, the checklist needs to be selected, the applicable section and test case, where the defect was found, a responsible party, and some remarks. Now we have understood how to create a ticket based on defect identified during quality assessment or audits. To complete this activity, let's understand how to update status in NDPD after facing the deficiency on site. The field service technician starts the work and fixes the deficiency, and after completion confirms this via NDPD by following these steps. First, go to Fix Deficiencies and click on three dots. There are three options: Fix Deficiencies, Get Direction to the site, or Create Ticket related to the activity. Select Fix Deficiencies option. And under My Assignment, view in NDPD contains status, where Y means yet to start and C means completed. Please update the status accordingly. With this, we conclude this training module and thank you for your participation. We have now come to an end of this training module. Thank you for taking time to go through this training module. We also hope that this learning will help you in achieving continuous improvements. Thank you once again.